morning mga kaibigan. Welcome to Lecture 101. Ang topic nating araw na ito is due diligence. How to conduct due diligence before buying a real property in the Philippines. As we all know, due diligence is very important. Importante ito natin malaman because with the knowledge of these due diligence guides, we will be able to protect ourselves before we enter into a real estate transaction. So, we proceed. Before buying a real property in the Philippines, remember that you should conduct due diligence. Ano ba itong due diligence? Parati natin ito naririnig nag-due diligence ka na. What is due diligence? Now, in the real estate world, meron ito siyang definition. Due diligence is the investigation or exercise of care that the buyer is normally expected to do before entering into a real estate sales agreement with the seller. So, bago tayo magbili ng property, pag-aralan muna natin yung dokumento, pag-aralan natin sino yung nagbebenta, saan ang location ng property, etc., boundaries. We have to do that. That is what we call due diligence. Diligence of a good father of the family would always try to see to it that everything is okay before you go into a certain transaction. Yan po ang due diligence. Now, ano ba yung mga due diligence guides na ating i-discuss dito? We will just enumerate these guides and later on separate videos, we will extensively discuss them para mas malalim nating maintindihan. Let us proceed. Number 1, you should know the proof of ownership, a prueba ng pagmamayari. Number 2, you should know how to verify a land title and also the documents. Number 3, you should know the seller of the property. Number 4, you should conduct ocular inspection. And number 5, you should know the taxes and legal expenses. And I included number 6, you should find a real notary public. And I mean a real notary public. Marami kasing notary public sa bangketa. Delikado po yun. Okay? Now, let us start with proof of ownership. In proof of ownership, ibig sabihin lang nito is that when somebody sells a property to you, the first thing that you will do is that, anong prueba ng pagmamayari mo? Yun ang first na tanong mo What is your proof of ownership? Mr. Seller, gusto mo ibenta sa akin yan. Pakita mo ebidensya mo. Now, from your question, there may be two answers, no? Number 1, sabihin ng seller, ay may land title ako. Titulado ito sa pangalan ko. Problema tayo dyan. Or, possible, sabihin niya, wala akong land title, but I have certain documents and evidences and writings that would show that I am the owner of the property. Yun ang mga possible na mga sagot nila. Now, dito sa land title, may iba-iba tayong klaseng land title na maaaring ipakita sa atin. It may be a original certificate of title. It may be a Certificate of Land Ownership Award o yung tinatawag nating CLOA, or a Transfer Certificate of Title, or number 4, a Condominium Certificate of Title. Now, dito sa Original Certificate of Title, merong tatlong categories pa. Number 1, it may be a homestead patent. At itong itsura ng homestead patent. Katibayan ng original na titulo, Original Certificate of Title, yan siya. Homestead patent pertains to agricultural land holdings, yan siya. And another one is a pre-patent. Ano itsura? Ito itsura ng pre-patent. Now, pag pre-patent, tandaan, ibig sabihin, residential purposes yan siya. Okay. And we have a sales patent. Ano itsura? Ito ang itsura niya. Sipi ng pagbili ng lupa. Yan ang example ng sales patent. Now, ano rin itsura nitong CLOA? Meron din tayong CLOA. to CLOA issued to farmer beneficiaries under the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, yung na-CARP. Yan. Itong itsura ng CLOA. Yan. And we also have a transfer certificate of title. And we have a condominium certificate of title. That is it. Now, suppose we go now to low land title. Sabi niya, wala akong titulo, sir. Pero I have evidences to prove that I am the owner of the property. Sige nga, ano ngayon? Number 1, pakita siya ng deed of absolute sale. Sir, titled ito. It is titled under the name of the previous owner, but I have a deed of sale. Hindi ko tinransfer pa sa pangalan ko, and I'm selling it to you. Yan ang possible document na ipapakita niya sa inyo. Or, meron sabihin niya, sir, may tax declaration ako under my name. And in fact, I'm paying the real property taxes. May official receipts ako to show na talaga nagbabayad ako. Yan ang another evidence of ownership na ipapakita niya in case doon sa with no land title. And magpakita rin siya ng transfer of rights document. Sir, hindi po titulado ang lupa. Binili ko lang doon sa isang may possession doon sa property na yun. Tagal na siya nagpossession doon. So, I bought this property through a transfer of rights. So, ito ang basis ng pagmamayari ko. Ililipat ko sa inyo. Bilihin nyo rin itong rights ko. Yan ang mga evidences of ownership that we need to tackle and study about. Okay? Let us proceed with land title. Because land title is the best proof of ownership. There's no question about that. There's no argument about that. That it is the best proof sa lahat ng klaseng ownership for purposes of as evidence of ownership over a parcel of land. Now, it is the best proof that the seller, take note that, number 1, he owns the property. Number 2, has the right of exclusive possession of the property. Number 3, has the right of exclusive enjoyment of the property. Number 4, has the right of recovery. Ito pong right of recovery, in case the property is taken from him, meron siyang legal personality to file a case in court to get it back. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng pwedeng mag-file ng case kung wala kang legal personality. So yun is the right of recovery. No? And, of course, he has the right to dispose. Pwede niya ibenta or encumber. Pwede niyang iprenda. These are what we call the bundle rights, the bundle of rights of a landowner. No? Now, ang tanong ng karamihan is that, ito bang mga karapatan na ito, absolute ba ito? Wala ba itong restrictions? I could do anything I want. Sir, is it okay that I will paint my house pink, everything pink? No problem. Is there a restriction? Now, this bundle of rights of a landowner, may mga restriction ito. Pero yung pink na sinabi ko, hindi siguro yun kasali, no? Except, the bundle of rights are not absolute because it is subject to restrictions imposed by, number 1, the state. Remember, yung 3 inherent powers of the state. The powers that are inherent, meaning to say, pag may state, automatic meron yan. There is no law needed to craft. There's no need for a legislation to craft this kind of inherent powers. Ano ba yun? Number 1 is the police power of the state. Number 2 is the power of eminent domain. And number 3 is the power of taxation. Kaya nga, marami tayo ngayong road widening under the Build program for the present government. Maraming natatamaan. The government takes it. You cannot do anything about that because that is an inherent power of the state, the power of eminent domain, and you will just be paid just compensation. Now, if you sell property, you pay taxes, capital gain tax, documentary stamp tax. When you donate the property, you pay donor's tax. When somebody dies and you you will pay the estate tax. So, this is the power of taxation. Everything is considered as a restriction imposed by the state. Right? Now, meron din tayong restriction imposed by the law. Usually, in mga laws na created, in accordance ito sa inherent power of the state under the Police Power Clause. Bigay tayo ng mga examples ng law. Ha? Number 1, itong PD 1096, the National Building Code. Sabi ko nga, kung magtayo ka ng building sa property mo, tapos, what is the most important thing before you could do that? Is that you have to get a building permit. Pag may building permit ka, pinturahan mo ng pink ang bahay mo, lahat. Nobody could stop you because you have a building permit and pink color is not. I do not know of any law that restricts that pink color is not allowed. But if you build on your property a house without a building permit, the city government may consider it as an illegal construction, and later on it may be summarily demolished by the city engineer's office. So that is a requirement under the National Building Code to secure a building permit before you construct a building on your property. Alright? Again, another one. Itong Republic Act 386. This is the new Civil Code of the Philippines on easements. Marami po tayong easements. Meron tayong easements on waters, easement on light and view, drainage. But yung i-discuss natin, mabilis lang, yung easement on right-of-way. Kasi yan ang pinaka-sikat ngayon yung easement on right-of-way na parati natin naririnig. So I have an example here, no? If you'll notice, there are two parcels of land, parcel A and parcel B. Sa parcel A, siya yung dominant estate. Si parcel B, siya yung servient estate. Bakit dominant estate si parcel A? Dominant estate siya because siya yung pwedeng makahingi ng right-of-way. Kasi kulong siya wala siyang daanan. So siya yung pwedeng makahingi ng daan. Kanino? Doon sa servient estate si parcel B. Servient because he serves the interest of the dominant estate para magadaan siya ng right-of-way, which is the nearest route near to the road. Now, take note, this is not free. May bayad po yan. May compensation and damage po yan. While restricted si servient estate, obliged siya to give a right-of-way, pero hindi po ibig sabihin libre because that's a private property. Kung gobyerno nga, kumuha ng road widening, babayad. Yan pa kaya sa private property. So, subject of the agreement of the parties, then they will be able. Kung hindi sila mag-agree, then the court will fix them out as compensation for the right-of-way. Kasi considered as damages yan on the part of the servient estate. Kasi nga, nabawasan ang property niya because of that right-of-way. So, that is the easement on right-of-way. Another restriction on property ownership. Another one, itong Presidential Decree 957, the Subdivision and Condominium Buyers Protective Decree. Ang uso ngayon is yung mga rollots, naglote-lote. They have this, let's say, 2 hectares, 1 hectare of land. They will cut it into several lots through survey and genetic engineer. Tapos, lagyan na ng road. Then yun na. Benta na ng rollout pa isa. Now, under PD 957, you need to secure a license to sell. Otherwise, if you do not have a license to sell, you may be criminally prosecuted. Bawal po yun. So, careful po tayo when buying rollouts. We have to ask, may license to sell po ba kayo? Para naman malaman namin kung legal ang pagbenta ninyo. So, be careful with that. Now, another restriction that restriction sa pagmamay-ari ng lupa. One imposed by a private person. Ang dami po, no? Daming mga restrictions. But ang famous na restriction na minsan hindi natin nababantayan, itong restrictions ng Homeowners Association. Now, merong restriction sa Homeowners Association ng condominium, meron tayong sa mga gated communities, yung may Homeowners Association. Now, when you pay dues, di ba? Now, here you are, a newcomer, wants to buy a property inside that subdivision. Your intention was that, magtayo ako dyan kasi it appears sa pag-ikot-ikot ko, walang tindahan, walang grocery, sakop ko ito lahat. Lalo na ngayon, panahon ng pandemic, sa akin sila bibili lahat ng mga supplies. Bili siya. Then, after niya mabili, attempt siya mag-construct, got a building permit, but he has to secure a clearance from the Homeowners Association. Hindi siya bigyan ng clearance. Bakit? Sabi ng Homeowners Association, bakit ka namin bibigyan ng clearance na nakita mo ba ang deed of restriction? Klaro dyan, it's only intended for residential purposes. No construction for business purposes. Napalpak na naman ang transaction mo. So, ang intention mo na defeat ang purpose mo sa pagbili ng property. So be careful because this is a restriction imposed by a private person. Itong homeowners deed of restrictions. So again, remember, the bundle of rights are not absolute. It is subject to restrictions imposed by the state, by the law, and by the private persons. Now, let's go to kinds of land title. We just go briefly, no, because I want to emphasize something here. Now, sa kinds of land title natin na na-discuss kanina, we have this original certificate of title, under which meron tayong under it meron tayong homestead patent, meron tayong pre-patent, may sales patent, pagkatapos meron tayong certificate of land ownership award, as I said, CLOA, issued to farmer beneficiaries under the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, and we have this transfer certificate of title and a condominium certificate of title. Now, I emphasize here this homestead patent at saka itong CLOA because it comes with a 5-year prohibition and 10-year prohibition respectively. Upon issuance of the title, from the issuance of the title, you will have to count 5 years and 10 years respectively, because within this said period, you cannot sell the property if you are the registered owner of that patent, homestead patent, or CLOA. Bakit? Because it is inscribed in the title itself that prohibition. And the Supreme Court said that it is a mandatory prohibition. Hindi talaga siya pwedeng ibenta. Be careful with transacting in this kind. Kahit po gawan nyo ng magic na other words, language that would somehow, it's still not allowed because that is a mandatory prohibition. Next time, I will be discussing to you a very nice case involving this prohibition wherein meron kasi silang ginawang ibang klaseng pangalan within the period of prohibition. The Supreme Court struck it down and considered as invalid, and therefore the sale was considered as null and void. Okay? Careful po tayo in transacting homestead patent and CLOA which has this 5-year or 10-year prohibition. Kasi pwede lang kasi ito ma-transfer during the period of prohibition sa mga heirs. Kung sakali namatay ang registered owner tapos ililipat sa heirs, yan, pwede yan siya. Pero kung sa third party or other persons, hindi ko pwede talaga. Bawal siya. And remember that it is mandatory. Pero pag maglampas na sa prohibition na 5 years and 10 years, you go ahead, you can buy it. No problem about it. Alright? So take note of this particular thing. Now, I would like to thank you for watching this video. So I have to stop here dito muna sa proof of ownership. Sana may natutunan kayo. And I hope to catch you again during our next video presentation. Doon tayo sa continuation ng lecture 101 natin, itong verification of title and documents. That would be our next topic, no? And so on and so forth. I'll try to finish all due diligence guide in discussing. And subok lang po ito. I just want to reach all of you guys, no? And so that I could be of help bago kayo mag-enter into real estate transaction, is that you will be able to protect yourselves, no? So with that, I would like to say thank you and muchas gracias. Salamat, and please stay tuned for the next video lecture. Thank you so much.